everybody. Welcome back to Becoming Next on Scene. I am so excited to be here with the owner and founder of Budsies and Petsies, Alex Furmansky. Hi, Alex. How are you today?
Hello. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So excited to have you. I'm a huge fan, and I will show all of my things that I have from you guys. So tell us a little bit about how you fell into the entrepreneurial world. Like, what inspired you to even become an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. That takes me back over a decade. I started off in the corporate world. I started off on Wall Street, actually. And first I had to live, I guess, my parents' version of the American dream. So what some people might not know is that I'm an immigrant myself, and we came as refugees, and started off with not a lot. And if you know anything about first-generation refugees, that the parents want you to be a doctor, lawyer, right, banker, that kind of thing. And so I felt like first I had to do it for them and ensure that they didn't sacrifice all of their lives for nothing, right? And so I started off in the corporate world, but I really felt unfulfilled. I felt like I was working a lot, but not really accomplishing anything meaningful. I've always loved building things, making things, being in charge of my destiny, and just creating. Like I went on this retreat last April, May, and I sat down for hours on end, just with a blank sheet of paper, just to find my essence. And the thing that I wrote down was, I just love making stuff. I just love making stuff. And so that's what started this whole journey. This was a decade ago. And then about 7 years ago or so, I got into Budsies, which is what we're talking about today. And thankfully, I have a little sister, Michelle. She's less little now. She's in college, but she's just a wonderful, wonderful human being. And she was a doodler, still a great artist. And she'd make up all these different characters. And she loved her stuffed animals. She was very creative, played make-believe a lot, but she'd play make-believe with characters that were not her own, just random, plushies from the store. And the idea dawned, it's like, well, she's so creative. She makes her own characters. She creates these whole storylines. Why can't she play with her own characters? And so the very first one ever made, it's called Dongler. It's this red pig with a weird looking snout and this antenna on his head. And he's red with purple and blue feet. It's he's just a trip. And he was the first Budsie ever made. And now he's our mascot. And then from there, it snowballed. And I think to date, we've made well over 100,000 individual plushies.
Amazing. And it all started in Florida, where you live, right?
Yeah. So at the time, I was not quite couch surfing, but I was renting a room from a friend of mine, and I remember just being up at night and packing these boxes. The room was just full of boxes everywhere, boxes and tissue paper, and I had the packing scale and the packing printer, and just it was complete madness. And then getting the boxes to the post office, because now we have a truck that comes and picks things up, but back in the day, no truck would just come to my house and grab all these boxes. So we had load them into the car. They wouldn't fit. The car doors were flopping open. It was a complete disaster. Just getting these things through the post office. Yeah.
So I have to follow up on this question, because obviously you came from such a different background, and then you came into becoming a maker. How did that transition outside of being inspired by your sister, but what went into that thought process? I'm just going to be a maker and create these plush animals,
Yeah. So I think it's less about being a maker and more about just building and creating impactful things. And so I'll say, look, I went to school for engineering. So that
makes more sense now. Makes way more sense.
That's one of my degrees. And my favorite toy as a kid was Legos. I just sat around all day alone and made just weird cities or trains, or airplanes, or just I had to make something. And so to me, this is just to me, this founder journey is imagine you're favorite project from college, right? But like you get to kind of do it every day with cool people that you've chosen, right? Like it's like the best project that
right,
just keeps
of all time.
growing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's how I view it, is just, it's given me the opportunity to build and create. And I feel like every year we have more and more of an impact just as we keep growing and scaling.
So freaking cool. It's been so awesome to watch your journey. Like, cause obviously you were on Shark Tank. So I have to plug that because that was totally part of your journey. So like,
Yes.
Can you talk about that experience and like what went into even like the application process and then being on? Like, I think that's so awesome to share.
For sure, for sure. So first of all, it's a really great experience. I've done some TV stuff, and of all the stuff I've done, that show was just, I felt, the most founder friendly, in the sense that they treated you with respect. All the producers were very helpful. It was like a really well-oiled machine that they knew like where to put you, where to stage you, make sure that you were properly set up with all of your equipment and everything. And so I'm really thankful for how it was run. And so again, the engineering side of me is just like so impressed by the processes that they put in place right here. But going back to the founder side of things, we applied, we had to send a video, then we did the whole application, signed your life away, because it is reality TV, right? So
right,
like,
right, exactly. That's hilarious.
You can't forget that part.
Right.
And by the way, like they record you for, I don't know, like an hour or so, and then they chop it down to 10 minutes. So they can make you look like the nicest guy or the biggest jerk.
Totally. That's hilarious. That's a fun fact.
Yeah. So that's one. And then two, as you're applying, there's a few things to note. First and foremost, it is a show, right? So as much as it is as it is about investment, it's a TV show first and foremost. And so half the episodes that are filmed are never actually shown on TV. And so there's kind of like two barriers. Like the first barrier is getting filmed, and the second is actually being shown. And so the thing I realized and learned, and the advice I would give to others, is to really think of yourself as like a show person. And think of yourself and your company as like, how can I show this best for a TV audience prime time on a Friday night, right? So like put yourself in the eyes of the executive director, producer, whoever is making that final decision of who makes the cut and who doesn't make the cut, and make sure that you give content that is worthwhile. I mean, you know this because you're in the content arena, right? So
right, totally.
Right? So like, your audience, and you create content towards that audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can share, for example, we had this segment of the taping where I had made selfies dolls. So for those who don't know, one of our products is called the Budsies Selfies. And it's where you send us a photo of a loved one, and we create a plush doll lookalike of them. We do this a lot for the military. We do this a lot for families who can't be close anymore. And it's just a really warm and like touching. We do this a lot for couples. Some couples have fun with this, and like that's a whole other like rated
I'm
different
sure that's
story.
It's hilarious.
But we've seen it all. Anyway, so we had selfies made for each of the sharks, and but we intentionally staged it so that we wouldn't like reveal that at the beginning. And so that's just one example of how we kind of framed our taping, our episode, to create this like aha, wow moment, which would be good for an audience. And so I guess the advice I would give is, first and foremost, if you can do it. It's a really great experience. And secondly, if you're trying to do it, just kind of put yourself in the seat of the director or producer, and make sure that you create something that's TV worthy.
Such great advice. Thank you for that. And also too, from application to actually being filmed, like how long was that process? Like how long did you apply from when they actually called you? Do you remember that?
I know we submitted the first like video application stuff. That was done I think in late spring. I remember filling out something online like the prior fall. And then I guess like the following September, early September is when we taped. And then April is when we aired. So from the time of like the actual like hard physical applications to the time of airing was almost a year.
Unreal.
During which you
pretty typical. That's pretty typical, I think, for TV, right? I don't know.
I mean, I haven't done any other reality TV shows, so it's hard for me to benchmark.
Compare, totally.
But I will say that that it's pretty nerve-wracking because, like I said, there's only a 50-50 shot of you actually being shown, and so you've gone through all this work, you've made all this effort of building up all the hoopla. You can't tell anything to anyone, right? And you're just kind of waiting, and then one day you hope to get a call, and you get the call, and it's like, oh, you're showing next week. Get ready. What?
Yeah, so cool. Like huge thing in like the entrepreneur world. Okay, I want to go back to Budsies and Petsies. So I want to know like how you keep adding on ideas to the product line. Like I'm so fascinated by that. You know, like what inspires that? And then of course, like tell us too your newest products that are out.
Sure. Thank you for asking. So I'll tell you this, it is not about being a genius. So I think people might have this like fantasy or this notion of like, you know, the founder sits there with his, I don't know, soy latte and a sharpened pencil and like a notepad and just like doodles away, right? And it's like, aha, there it is. And it's usually not that. And I feel like I love offering some kind of wisdom or advice for other founders, and I'll do it again here. What's been driving this innovation, aside from the very first product, is really our customers. So I'll give you an example. Our first product or service was the original Budsies custom plush, which is where people send us their child's drawings. We bring their characters to life as real stuffed animals. Like incredibly adorable. Still just like one of my favorite products that we offer is just like so heartwarming. But what happened over time is we'd have parents say, hey, my child can't draw well, but she's so cute. Can you just make a doll of her, right? And so we could have just like let that slide. I made a few dolls here and there, but the key is just like listen to like what your customers actually want, and hone in on that and say, oh, like that's an opportunity, right? Like that's something that could be kind of sliced off as like a separate offering, and if we give it a name and give it some parameters and really optimize around it, then it creates a really great customer experience for that service or product. The same thing happened for our Petsies, which is where people send us, well, I'll tell you. So eventually, I love so that's a Petsies pillow. So we had a thing where people would say, well, my kid can't draw, or I actually don't have a child, but I have, you know, a fur child. And so can you just make a plushie that looks like my pet? And again, it's just a matter of just like listening to that customer, noticing a cohort of customers who all kind of like want the same thing, or and creating a service around them. Same thing for our specialty commissions, which is for advanced illustrators, artists, anime, manga. Like I had no idea back when I started this company, just how many professional, older adult artists would use our service. And yet now we do. Or I had no idea how many brands, book authors. We have a whole division called Stuffed Animal Pros, stuffedanimalpros.com, where we've worked now with Harvard, Google, like all sorts of brands, local governments, book authors, anyone who wants, you know, their logo, their mascot, their character. We've had software companies who create like kid software, and there's like characters in there, and so they'll bring them to life, right? So just I had no idea going into this that was a thing, but luckily we're still a small enough company where, you know, the marketing team, the product team, the customer service team all engage, interact, and we have this culture of just flagging things. One of our core 6 values is curiosity, which is to like always kind of keep asking and digging and like inquiring. And so having that kind of culture is what fosters this kind of innovation.
So cool. And I didn't even realize all these other add-on sectors that you have. So thank you for sharing that. That's like freaking awesome.
Yeah. We have we have 3 independent brands now. We have our Budsies brand, which includes Budsies, the selfies, Buddy Pillows. We have our Petsies brand, which is the Petsies Forevers, the Petsies Pillows, the Phrase Pillows, socks, masks, keychains now. And then we have our Stuffed Animal Pros brand, which is really optimized for bulk and brands and all that.
So cool. So
yeah.
Did you ever think it would expand like to this capacity? Did you envision it for yourself, or?
At the beginning, this was really just like a side project. I felt like I was between companies. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do next. This just felt like something that was like very heartwarming, and just like it felt good.
Totally.
Just like on a human level. But I had no idea that this would become anything more than just like a little side hustle. And it just kind of kept growing. And then we kept listening to customers and doing more and bringing on just really, really great people. Just like the team has gotten so sharp. I'm so proud of everyone. Like most of the initiatives that you see these days are not mine. Like, and that's probably like the proudest thing of all is to know that like you've inspired and witnessed others kind of do that.
Totally.
So
you did your job. You did your job really well. So good job. That's a good boss. That's what a good boss does. I love it. By the way, your background is fantastic. I wanted to bring that to the attention earlier. The audio listeners, it says like dream bigger. It's awesome. I'm all about like affirmations and things like that too. That's like
yeah. This is like a giant decal on my wall, and it's one of the first things I see every day, and it's true, right? Like whatever you're imagining, just imagine bigger and better, and
totally,
and go for it.
Yeah. Totally. Great points there. Okay. So what's a day in the life of Alex? So you wake up, tell us like a day in the life of you.
Sure. So I would say that something I've been really honing in on, especially through the pandemic, is getting into healthy routines. And that's something I've been encouraging everyone to do because the world just feels very harried now and very confusing, and it's been a kind of like a rough year for a lot of us, and so I think having a routine helps me be more grounded. And so every morning I get up rather early. I think it's early. I don't know, like 6:30. I think it's early.
Early.
Yeah. Like I hear some founders, I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever.
All right. That's like even earlier. Yeah. 6:30 I think is early. So there you go.
Thank you. Anyway, so wake up, glass of water, do a workout. I alternate between 2 workouts every day. And then I've been using the Headspace app. Have you tried that before?
The meditation apps. Yep. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So I've been using Headspace, and so I'll do a 10 or 15 minute session in the morning, and then I actually use it to fall asleep, which is like, I'm totally not affiliated with them, but I'm going to totally plug the app right now, because for falling asleep, they have a whole section on like called falling asleep. Mm-hmm. And I swear it's like hypnosis. Like I feel my body getting heavier and like sinking into the mattress, and then I'm out. It's incredible. So highly recommend that app.
I love Headspace. I like Calm too. Have you heard of Calm?
I've heard of it. I haven't used it myself. Yeah. What's the difference?
They're kind of similar. I mean, Headspace has shorter ones, right? What are the longest?
Longest I've seen is 15 minutes. I know they have these like really long like soundscapes where it goes on for hours of just like, I don't know, birds singing or chirping.
That's
or
a lot of what Calm is. Headspace has more like talking, and Calm is more just sound, basically.
Got it. Yeah. I've realized that for me, like hearing these random sounds, I get like annoyed at the crickets. Like, why are there crickets or whatever?
Totally, because you're like in Zen mode and you're like, I need someone to tell me what I need to think and not like worry about the distractions. That's
yeah. No more birds chirping. Exactly.
That's hilarious. Okay, so you meditate. Okay, so in between, like, what's your day? So do you
meditate,
calls,
breakfast?
email,
Yeah. A lot of calls. I live and die by Asana. That's my task management app of choice. Our whole team lives and dies by Asana. Highly recommend having something like that. I know some folks use Trello.
That's right.
Whatever works.
Right. Trello is exactly like that. Very similar.
But like you have to use something like that. Mm-hmm. And then we have our weekly meetings for the management team. We have our monthly all hands meetings. So there's meetings, there's calls with experts, there's all sorts of stuff. But I think it's like, look, as a founder, you're always on, right? So it's hard to give a life in the day of a founder, because even if you're just like out for a walk, you're not just walking, right? Like you're walking and thinking about like the next marketing strategy, right? So, for anyone who's considering the founder life, like that's just something that comes with the territory. And so your life in the day might sound very glamorous, but there's usually some voice in the back of your mind that's like talking something about the company, or like where it's going, or like what you can do better, how you can improve, or that kind of thing, which is good because that's what keeps everything just like churning forward. Right. I do take mental health breaks for like intense things. So this quarantine, I started getting back into music.
Awesome.
So I got a looper.
Is guitar over there? Is that what we're talking about, or no?
Yeah, there's a few guitars here. My apartment has become like a sound studio.
That's awesome.
So there's like mics, guitars. I got a saxophone. Started playing the saxophone. There's a ukulele here. There's a drum.
That's freaking awesome. I love it. One man band or what?
Exactly. So that's been my my like Zen zone for music, and I've been making up my own songs and everything, and so that's been like super fun. And then I got into surfing as well, which I really appreciate that sport, because if you're out in the water, you cannot have your cell phone.
Mm-hmm. So, I like that answer. That is a valid point.
So that's been fun too.
That's really cool. Is it hard to learn how to surf? Side note.
Great question. I would say it depends on where you are. So if you can get to somewhere like Bali, or even like West Coast, California, Venezuela, Costa Rica, like those kinds of places tend to have easier surf, versus like here in Florida, it's like a giant washing machine, but that's just not very conducive. So if you want to look good and feel good, don't go to Florida, go somewhere else. If you want to just like struggle, exert a lot of energy and feel like a total surfing loser, come to Florida. It's perfect for that. But I think it's an amazing workout. It works all of you. And unlike sports, like, so I think for a lot of sports, like tennis is a good example. If you go and you play with your buddy, one of you is going to be a winner, but one of you is going to be a loser. 100%. Right? And so if you want to keep your friends, I suggest a sport like surfing, where it's more or less like you against the ocean versus you against a friend, and you can both win. So everyone's a winner. So
analogy. That's hilarious. That's so good. Great stuff, Alec. That's awesome. Okay, so now back to the business side. So what are your newest products in? I also definitely want to touch upon like how you guys are doing philanthropy with giving products to children that are sick. Can you talk more about that?
For sure, and I'll start with that because it's just so core to us. So we have a program called Budsies Pillows, which we've had for a number of years now, and it's just really special. It's really emotional. We work with hospitals and long-term care facilities for children, and we get sponsors and we give them free Budsies. And so what happens is that these kids are going through the hardest battle of their lives, probably a harder battle than, I mean, for me anyway, like harder than anything I've ever faced, right? Like these are kids who are literally fighting cancer. And they draw what's effectively, often they're like superhero or their totem that like gives them strength. And then it comes to life, and usually we have some kind of like reveal party. So they open the box, they see their totem, their icon, like come to life in front of them. And then they bring their plushie to all of their treatments, and they stay with it while they're resting. And, you know, and often the parents or the family just after a while just can't be there all the time. You know, it's just not practical. And so to have a constant in their lives that's like there and always by their side, it's really impactful.
That's
and
so
and the videos that we get, they're really emotional. And some kids, honestly, like I remember one child in particular, I remember asking about him like the following year, and he didn't make it. And he had this wolf. I remember he made this wolf, and it was this wolf that brought him strength. And he was just like the most liveliest kid, and he didn't make it. But yeah, it's something that my team and I are really privileged to be a part of. And this year, I think we had 120 kids around the country that ended up getting free Budsies, which is really wonderful.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah,
and really nice
story. As far as the products, yeah, we have a whole slew of products this year. Some were inspired because with COVID, we just saw how families were being separated, torn apart. Like people couldn't see their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles. And so we wanted to create something that let people be closer together. And so we created our photo pillows, which are really unique, where you upload a photo of your friends, of your family, and you can choose a really like beautiful decorative phrase over it. And then you can choose accent colors and backs, just like really cool designs. We have our buddy pillows, which there's a really funny video of my little sister. So buddy pillows are, you send a photo and we print that photo onto like a really squishable, huggable pillow. And it's cut out in the shape of the person. And we have this like really funny video where my sister and her friend from college were like separated because of COVID. And my sister sent like a buddy pillow of her face to her friend and got a face of her friend for herself. And they opened their boxes, and it's like imagine the friend opening the box and getting like a 3-foot tall version of just my sister's face in the box. It is the funniest video. I'll have to share it with you. So that's a product we launched. Also, we have on the Petsies side, we have our Petsies custom socks, where you send us a photo of your pet, and we create these custom socks. We have really cute patterns, pizza socks. We have donuts. We have princess. We have kind of these like geeky, nerdy ones, and we print those on socks. We can also create face masks to keep everyone healthy in this time of year. They're super fun, and they're really comfortable, and they come out as great quality. And so it's just like a really cool gift idea.
I love it. So fun. And then the keychains too, you didn't talk about.
Yes, those are the newest thing. I think we just launched those like a week ago or so. These are these like it's these really cute, tiny like micro-sized pillows. They're about 3 or 4 inches big, and they're attached to a keychain ring, and you can have your pet's face printed on them, and they're just like really adorable, and you can take them anywhere, and they're awesome.
I love it. So creative. Like the expansion of your business is so fun to watch. It really is. Because I've been a fan for a while, as you know. So it's really cool to watch. Okay, so tell us how people can follow you on social media, get in touch with you, and then I want to play a quick game time.
Oh, God. Excellent. Websites are budsies.com, budsies.com. That's our main site. And from there, you'll get to mypetsies.com, mypetsies.com. And Instagram is a great place to follow us. At Budsies, Budsies, or at Petsies, Petsies. Lots of really cute content. Actually, I believe in December we're having like our 22 days of surprises and giveaways and whatnot. So lots of really fun stuff happening there during this month. And then overall, there's a lot of really cute, genuine, like customer content where it's real people who meet their Budsies or Petsies for the first time and just have really beautiful, sometimes comical reactions. And we're just honored to be able to share those with our extended Budsies fam.
I love it. And also too, I have to just say that all the pets I've gifted the pillows to, they all sleep on them, like on themselves. It's hilarious. I need to send you guys pictures of them. It's so hysterical. They like love themselves. It's hilarious. So I just had to put that out there. So yes, everybody needs to follow Budsies and Petsies for sure on Instagram and follow them, check out their websites, all the things. Okay, Alex, we're going to play a quick game time.
I love games.
There's no rush with like how fast you have to answer. This is just a fun way for us to get to know you. Okay. What is Alex's favorite food?
Alex's favorite food. Oh, these days. It's these, they're so bougie. It's these like refrigerated ravioli things that you at the supermarket. They're mushroom filled. I don't know what it is about these things, but I think that the package says like 6 servings. That is not true. It is a 1 Alex serving special, and then they're gone.
Hey, whatever. At least they're good. They can make that. I mean, maybe they should just call it the Alex Furmansky ravioli.
At this point, I probably bought it in enough of those packs that I'm single-handedly responsible for like their Southeast regional sales goals. So might as well.
That's hilarious. Like being a brand ambassador for them or something.
Yes. Can you imagine? Like, I'm the ravioli guy.
Seriously, yes. That's hilarious. Okay. If you could wear one outfit for the rest of your life from head to toe, what would it be and why?
Well, the first thing, I think my go-to outfit is jeans, a t-shirt, and like a nice jacket. It's super versatile, and I feel like I span, I can be like very formal and serious in like business mode, and yet I think what you're seeing is that at times I can be very playful. And so I think having both of those characteristics is just very core to who I am. And I think that kind of outfit represents that. But the first thing that came to mind is I have this this onesie that I got on that, what's that website that has those like tipsy elves?
Oh my God, totally. Tipsy,
right. Yeah. Okay. So it's this like redonkulous onesie with like this bright blue onesie with like snowmen on it. And it's totally ridiculous. And I remember last year going to this like really formal holiday party, this event, and everyone is dressed up in suits. And I roll in this onesie.
That's hilarious.
It was wonderful.
Was it the best outfit there though? 100%.
Oh my gosh. Everyone wanted to take a photo with me. It was great.
That's amazing. You made a statement. That was your statement piece. I love it.
Exactly.
Okay. What is your favorite destination you've traveled to thus far? And what is a bucket list destination you've never been to that you want to go to?
Destination thus far. So I'm going to say something that sounds boring, but bear with me. I'm obsessed with the West Coast of America. I think California is just like the beautiful coastline. And so my favorite place to go is somewhere in San Diego County, whether it's Oceanside or Encinitas or even like downtown San Diego itself. I think it's beautiful weather every day. The surfing is amazing. And most importantly, for me, you can go out at sunset time, stand on a cliff that's hundreds of feet up in the air, and you look down at this expansive ocean, the sun is setting, and you realize just how insignificant you are, right? Like
the scheme of like what you're standing in, totally makes sense.
Yeah, right. And so like whatever ego you had that day, or like no matter what you built or created, right? Like it's nothing compared to like the sun, the cliffs, and the ocean. And so I found that to be a very grounding experience.
Love that. Okay, and what's your bucket list destination you've never been?
Bucket list destination I've never been.
The pressure's on.
So one of my, I think like a dream road trip I want to do, or maybe even a bike trip, like an e-bike trip, would be cool to start somewhere in France and end it in Italy, and go through like the Alps and like start in like French wine country and end in Italian wine country, and just like have like
wine country sounds fantastic.
yeah, and just, you know, like right through have everyone judge you and look down on you because it's France, and it's fine, because it'll be a great trip.
Right.
So
I like that.
I'm all about it.
Okay, final question. If you could spend a day with somebody dead or alive that you have never met, who would it be and why?
I've never met.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's probably the hardest one so far.
Sometimes more than one person. So if you want to pick more than one person, I'm okay with it.
Wow. You've totally stumped me. I think that's strange. Like I can't think of folks that I haven't met that I want to see again, or I want to see. I think that there's I'd love to spend a day with the folks at either Andreessen Horowitz or this accelerator called NFX. So these are our two venture capital funds. Mm-hmm. And I think that their writings and their podcasts are just so on point and so visionary. And I love how they're thinking a decade ahead. And I think it's very inspirational. I find them to be very wise. And I think just being around them for a couple hours would be very inspirational.
I love it. Great answers. All right, Alex, you're fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on today. Share with us again how they can follow you and reach out on your websites for some purchases.
Well, thank you. And you're the best. And I'm really enjoying this conversation. As far as where to find us, Budsies, BUDSIES.com, Budsies on Insta, Petsies on Insta, and mypetsies.com. You can get a plush of your pet. You can get a plush of your child's drawing, a plush of your own drawing, a plush of your spouse. Basically, any custom gift you can imagine that's really like warm and wholesome is probably somewhere on our website.
Definitely worth checking out. Like I said, wait, so before we close out, I need to show both my stuffed animals that I have.
Yes, please. Show the Petsies. Oh, okay.
This is her.
Yes, that's the Petsies pillow.
Yes. And then we have
the Forevers.
The Forevers.
Yes. I mean,
so I could not recommend them more. They're fantastic. Petsies and Budsies is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to Becoming Next on Scene, and stay tuned for who's next on Scene.